Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You got the Pokemon Professor here, and today we are bringing you something a little bit different. You may be seeing this on my channel, on Pup's channel, or on Leo, aka SixftHax's channel. This season, with ICP Noterra starting up, the three of us have joined in on a gentleman's wager, if you will. Basically, me, Pup, and Leo are going to be taking a turn, just taking an analytical approach towards the season. We're going to be gambling. We are going to be betting a cash prize on all the games this season. Each week, myself, Pup, and Leo are going to pick which teams we think will win each matchup. I won't be calling my matchups, and Pup won't be calling his matchups. So we are both going to be missing it because we are playing in the season, and Leo will get to choose each week to call either my game or Pup's game. At the end of the season, whoever calls the most games right, with the most amount of correct winners, I guess I should say, will end up getting that cash prize. If worse comes to worse and we tie at like 5-3 and everybody is dead equal in standings, we're going to take a look at our kill leaders. I've picked Gouging Fire, Leo has picked Roaring Moon, and Pup has actually picked Terapagos to be the season kill leaders. Hopefully that didn't come into play. Hopefully I will just win it all. But we are going to take turns uploading this on different people's channels. So do make sure to check out my man Pup and Leo down in the description below, as well as all the other coaches, right? And if you're seeing this on Pup's channel, on Leo's channel, check your boy the Professor out. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of self-plug there. But without further ado, I will catch you guys in the week 1 matchups. Peace. Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are bringing you, we being myself, Pup, and Leo, bringing you our kind of Pickems for the ICP Noterra. We have a gentleman's bet, if you will. We are going to try to call the games, and we have a cash prize for whoever picks the most games. So looking at this, the first game that we're going to look at is going to be the Welchions and Vegas Golden D-Knights. Looking at this, I personally have Welsh winning. Coach Fredo, if you will. I think that Drill just kind of has a field day against Golden. I think EQ is so spammable, and if he can wear down something like the Rotom Wash, I think Drill just kind of runs away with the game. I think that like Golden could win if he can get up webs and something like a booster speed bulky Moon, but he really doesn't have a way to prevent him from getting rid of webs because Gengar's not super bulky, and then Cinderace can just kind of like court change stuff around. So I got Fredo winning this game.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a fair pick. I also think Enamorus is really strong in the matchup. You have a couple Pokemon that can resist and, you know, a couple things that outspeed with like Gengar. But I think that it's going to be really hard to switch into that. On the other hand, I think that Roaring Moon, if it's able to get any sort of setup, absolutely destroys Fredo's entire team. I mean, you get one Dragon Dance and, you know, there's a potential Quillfish that can intimidate you on the other side, but that's really just about it. You get a Dragon Dance up and it's going to be GG's really easily. You do have like a Cinderace so you can get rid of hazards or anything like that, but you have a ton of hazard play on Davion's side. So honestly, I'm going to have to give it to Vegas and their D-Knights. I think that Roaring Moon just absolutely destroys in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, pause the YouTube. Hi. I got to get my intro in there. I agree. I think the Dragon Knights just kind of edge it out here. Honestly, like, yeah, Excadrill is a giant problem, but they would have to be mold breaker, right, to be able to break through Rotom.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's something that Davion can definitely take advantage of. Plus, he's got Toadscruel. I mean, it's not like the best Pokemon ever, but it can still do stuff. Being able to take those earthquakes.
I'm gonna need you to lock in for me, Fredo.
And as Pup mentioned, like Roaring Moon is just really good here.
Yeah, I will give you that.
Speed with coverage, knockoff, Dragon Move. It's pretty nice. Terrakion too. Outside of like what Quillfish, he doesn't really switch in that well to Terrakion.
Yeah,
even then,
right? Like Fredo doesn't have the best switching.
Yeah, I'm expecting some kind of like Life Orb Drill, and I know you guys are saying like the Rotom Wash, but Rotom Wash really doesn't want to take like Life Orb Rock Slide or Life Orb like Iron Heads after a little bit. I think he's going to be able to wear it down.
Just much.
Yeah, I do think the Roaring Moon is going to be the difference.
Yeah, for sure here.
If he can play that real well. But
an underrated thing, I mean, you have the Rotom, but it gets full HP every time Screamtail Wish passes to it because you have such a low base HP stat.
True.
So you're going to be able to Wish Pass all you want. I mean, Excadrill is the only thing really stopping that Pokemon anyways.
Yeah.
That's true.
Very good point. But Frito, I got your fucking back, dude. I got your back. All right. Game number 2, Phoenix Incineroar and Backs to the Future.
All right. So first of all, I think that we have a really interesting rain team here with Incog, Pelipper, Walking Wake. Bearscute is really solid, Poliwrath. But it's a team that doesn't have to function inside the rain. You can bring a lot of different stuff in this side. And then we have the Phoenix Incineroars from CJ. Just a very strong team down the board. You do have stuff for rain like Blastoise, who can run Rain Dish, and it's just very bulky, eating a lot of those hits. And I don't think that Incog has a lot for that. But in general, I don't think that CJ has enough offense to deal with everything that Incog is going to be throwing their way with your Walking Wake, with your Bearscute, with your Iron Crown, even a Salamence that can set up and just absolutely destroy CJ's team. I'm going to have to push it over to Incog on this one. I think that their matchup just looks incredible this week.
Yeah. Leo, what about you?
That's fair. I got CJ. I don't know. Like Incog's team is a little odd. Yes, the rain is good and it does, I guess, more or less kind of function outside of rain. But CJ does have something like Dragonite. Also, screens potentially could be something that he can take advantage of. Also, Incog has no form of hazard removal whatsoever. Nor does he have a poison type. So unless he's going to be running boots on everything that touches the ground, then that's definitely something that I think CJ could take advantage of. Also, if Incog does bring the rain, there's stuff like Rain Dish Blastoise. There's Sinistcha that deals with most of his rain mons. Tornadus, I guess, could be a little bit annoying. But then there's also like Muck, which eats most special hits. Muck, I think, for like, 3 points? That was a steal, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that was
for
a
real.
steal for sure. And then, Greninja, I mean, once it gets the speed boost, if it gets that KO, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So I got to go with Pup here. I'm giving it to Incog. I went about it in a different way. To me, I think Ribombee, if that thing can get set up +1, Moonblast, Bug Buzz, and even something like Psychic for the Muck, CJ doesn't have much of a fairy switch in. Like, yeah, he's got Metagross or Clefable, but I think that Incog just has so much pivoting that he's going to be able to wear stuff like that down. I think the Electros could come in and getting off one Super Fang may be the difference in just picking up a KO. And you guys are talking about like the Rain Dish Blastoise, but you flip turn out into Torn. You flip turn out into Draco Walking Wake. And then it's like, do I want to take that or do I want to risk the Clefable? I just think Incog's going to be able to position himself around enough to be able to break down some of the bulkier threats and the few that CJ has. Now, talking about the Greninja, though, I do think if you could play it right and you get like rain boosted water shurikens, I mean, that thing's just a fucking threat in itself, right? And it has all the coverage in the world to be able to hit anything else you may need. Dragonite, it could be special running Hurricane this week, which could be massive. Even Rotom Fan, he doesn't have a ground type. Not only does he not have removal, I mean, you could be the fucking man and run something like Specs Thunder or whatever, but you do have the Meloetta that could be AV and take those hits. So I just think that CJ would have to position himself really well to kind of overwhelm Incog, and in a game of positioning, I'm giving it to Incog.
Yeah, I like that. I do think maybe I didn't see enough about the Greninja because it absolutely destroys everything on Incog's team. If you get that Pokemon in, it's faster than everything basically on their squad and just can destroy it, get a Battle Bond, and nothing takes a hit at all. But, I still think Incog can have it. I do like the Ribombee call out from you. I think that Mon goes crazy once Metagross is gone.
And even with Metagross not being gone, like if you get one Bug Buzz right or whatever and call that thing on the switch in, next time Moonblast is just so free.
Yeah. I mean, we might see AV Metagross. I think that looks pretty solid into something. Like you can switch into Pelipper, Walking Wake, that sort of stuff, but it's still going to be a huge threat.
And even Iron Crown, if it's going to be something like booster speed, like Greninja's not super bulky. Tachyon Cutter is going to be wearing that thing down in itself. Similar with the Blastoise being able to Volt Switch out. And even if he's not booster speed, even AV Iron Crown, I feel like could be something that's a nuisance for CJ.
That's fair, but Iron Crown doesn't really have like the best coverage
Agreed. Yeah.
Like Metagross, like AV Metagross looks pretty good here, I think.
Yeah, I'm expecting AV for sure.
Most things.
Yeah. So
We'll see.
next game is going to be myself versus Gray. I'm not going to call anything for this. That's one of the ways we're going to handle me and Pup playing this season. I'm not talking about my games. Pup isn't talking about his game. And Leo gets to pick either my game or Pup's game to not comment on. So it kind of evens out everybody missing a game. So I guess, Leo, you want to start us off?
I will say Gray probably has like top 3 teams in the draft. Honestly, like it's gonna be kind of more or less hard to pick against him. While the team, I mean, every team has their flaws, right? Like Notero's in a very interesting format, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Gray on this one. Like Gouging Fire is terrifying in general. Gray is one of like the few teams that has not only a good dragon but also a pretty good fairy. And dragons and fairies are immensely better in Notero, just because there's those less answers to be able to switch into them. So I think I'm gonna have to go to Gray here, just out on the offense. Although I will say, Professor does have some good win conditions, like Mew. Mew's always terrifying because you never know what it's gonna run. Also, Annihilate could be a bit of a problem, just because it does have some pretty good bulk, and then obviously Rage Fist being a giant issue. But Pinglu, Petulant, and Corviknight as a core is just going to be really, really annoying to try and break through. So I don't know, we'll see. But I think I'm going to have to give the edge here to Gray.
And I just want to add, Leo, your mom's a hoe. I get it. You calling Gray out, but like I gotta stand up for myself. All right, go ahead, Pup.
I don't know. I think that Gray is going to take it for sure. I mean, it's going to be a really tough matchup. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I mean, you do have some stuff going for you, Prof. Like you have Annihilate, which I think is really strong here. I think you can pivot in on like the U-turns of Corviknight. You have to punish that, try to get your Rage Fist up. You just have to play really, really aggressively versus Gray's team. In this scenario, you do have some really good stuff in the matchup. We talked about Annihilate a little bit. I think Serperior getting glares on basically everything on Gray's team just puts you in an immensely better spot overall through the game. I also think Ogerpon is really, really strong here. Just being able to click Ivy Cudgel, that is like, you can't switch into that on Gray's side, especially if you get a little bit of chip on the Petulant or
Petulant switches into anything physical. I hate Petulant.
I don't know about that. It's going to take a lot from a Wellspring, especially if you do end up getting like a Spike Up or something, any sort of hazards. But looking at Gray's side, Gouging Fire it's like going to be the best Pokemon in this league. I don't think anyone's going to be able to contend with that thing. Having Ting-Lu on a team with that thing, just to be able to set up your own hazards, is going to be absolutely destructive. Petulant,
I will say
makes every
you
hit.
have the benefit. Sorry, I will say you have the benefit of potentially hazard stacking them, just because their only removal is Corviknight. So if anything, force boots and removal. So that's something that can definitely be taken advantage of. Although that can be said about any matchup that they have this season, right? Like the removal Corviknight. I think Corviknight just sucks in general as a mon. So I feel like it's a very exploitable Pokemon. So
yeah, it is super punished in this game.
Yeah, as
like
Pup said,
you
can just keep up offensive pressure and hazards.
Exactly. And you have Defiant Annihilate that you just switch in on either a U-turn to get your Rage Fist boost, or you get Defiant boost from a Defog, and then you just spam Rage Fist versus their whole team. And it's pretty tough to take it out, especially when Ting-Lu just drops to a Drain Punch at +2.
That is true. So there's a good chance for an upset here. But as I said, I think Gray has easily like top 3, arguably top 2 best teams.
Yeah, definitely.
You heard it here, folks. An upset. Okay. All right.
In the making.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we shall see. Okay. Copenhagen Gallades and Roman Polions. I guess I will take this. Personally, I got Gallades winning. I think Gudra Hisuian just handles pretty much any kind of Swift Swim user that they can outrun or anything that they're trying to get for the speed. I think Zapdos and Rain is such a threat whenever things like Weather Ball, Hurricane, and Thunder are just fairly free, or even just going for the U-turn on something like AV or Chaladon coming in. I also see something like Scarf and Teleon in Rain going for Snipe Shot, or Spec Surf or something like that is hard for our opponent to switch into. So overall, I got Copenhagen Glades winning this one.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I really like the Hisuian Goodra in this game. You do have to be worried about a couple Pokemon like Weavile Low Kick. I think Weavile looks great in this game for Roam. And I think Torn also is pretty good. Just to be able to spam knockoff versus GentlemanThomas's team. Just put them in a bad position in general. Get rid of like boots if they want to try to boot spam. Because, I mean, you have Tentacruel as your hazard removal, but you can always go Basket Legion on that thing.
Yeah.
You run an Assault Vest and you're clicking adaptability moves that they just can't switch into on their side. I am still going to go with the Gallades. I think that they have the stronger team in this one, but there's a lot of counterplay, and I really thought this was one of the harder matchups to pick. I just think Basket Legion, Weavile, and Torn go absolutely nutty in this game.
I too as well have the Gallades here, but just barely. As you said, it was a little bit of a difficult matchup. But as Seth said, Thomas does have good rain answers. The Zapdos, the Tentacruel with Rain Dish too.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Intimidate Scrafty for any type of Weavile. I think I'm pretty sure Weavile can't even touch Scrafty if he does bring something like Intimidate. Also for like Intimidate Womfan or Rocky Helmet on something to punish it from spinning. Goodra, actually both Goodra and Archaludon are pretty good here in this matchup, so it could come down to just which one ends up doing more damage, honestly. Although Aaron does have some good Mons on his end, Weavile absolutely puts in work this matchup. Intimidate or even Swift Swim Cofish also looks really good into Thomas's team, depending on what route he wants to go with. And then Tornty in the rain, Hurricanes, obviously very, very scary. It does still wear down things like the Zapdos or gains him momentum with U-turn on whatever potentially is going to be Thomas's switching. And then obviously if hazards go up, then that could definitely sway the matchup into one or the other's favor. But I think I just have to give the edge here to Thomas just because Garchomp just really good. If Weavile is gone and there's no rain, I think it just comes in. It can definitely end the matchup for Thomas with the victory.
Yeah, I like how you said something about Intimidate Scrafty. I think that could come. It could be Intimidate AV. I also think if you get a little wild, you run like a D-Dance set. You got to worry about rain, stuff like that. But I think depending if you can get rid of rain, I think D-Dance Scrafty looks really nice against the opponent's side.
That or bulk up, honestly. Like
yeah, that too.
Bulky bulk up set. Yeah, like there's Tornadus, but I mean, there's Tentacruel, there's a Goodra, there's just
right.
See, arguably,
and even Tentacruel doesn't have bad SPDEV.
Oh yeah, Tentacruel as well. And then if he does have the rain, then it's getting leftovers or Black Sludge with Rain Dish, so that's 12% of Tentacruel's HP.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Aaron, I think definitely has a bit of a rougher matchup, but he can definitely still pull it out here. I think depending on what kind of prep he wants to run.
Agreed.
Yeah, definitely. I think one Pokemon we didn't talk about very much that I think is going to be important in this game is going to be the Diancie. I think Trick Room could be really fun here. I think like you click Trick Room and then you're clicking any rock or fairy move and there's just absolutely no switch in on Aaron's side. You can also run this Pokemon just to, stack the hazards up, which I think are really strong in this game, like you guys mentioned. So I think that Pokemon can put in a lot of work besides all of the other threats on GentlemanThomas's team.
Yeah, I do like that. Like Trick Room, Moonblast, even if you could be like Trick Room Weakness Policy or something like that, catch something silly. Earth Power, Power Gem, like you are kind of bopping. Yeah. So next match we have Sullyhole. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. OnesieBanette versus the man Mario B. Let's go Pup.
All right, so I definitely don't know if you pronounced that right.
I doubt it.
I think Onesie has a really, really strong team. We talked about this a little bit before, but like their top 4, their top 5, their top 6 are just incredibly great, especially in a no-terror league where it's going to be harder to deal with stuff like Iron Moth, to deal with stuff like Sun ET, everything like that. You're facing off against Mario, who also has a great team. I think it's a very balanced one. Latios, Heatran, Quackable, Sandy Shocks. You guys are hating on Fez, but I actually think it's a quite solid Pokemon in this one.
It sucks.
Hey. But like Onesie, you have a Tinkaton, which absolutely shuts down Latios. I mean, you have a lot of really strong stuff in this matchup. But I think that Mario has enough to actually edge this one out. It's going to be a really interesting game. I like Sandy Shocks a lot to put up some hazards because, well, like, where's the removal on Onesie's side? I mean, you're going to have to run boot spam if you're going to want to survive the onslaught of spikes that come out from that Sandy Shocks. Yeah, defog conk. You're really going to
You're damn right.
To be fair, it's defog conk. So yeah,
I mean, yeah, but I mean, when are you really going to use that? I think that Mario can definitely win it. You have to get rid of that Tinkaton. You have to chip it down so your Latios can do a lot of work because it looks great in this matchup once that Pokemon is out of the way. It's really only one thing stopping it. So yeah, I'm going to have to give it to Mario in this matchup.
Okay. Leo, who you got?
I will be going the opposite route here, and I think that Onesie actually might have the better matchup. Just as you said, the top three are just so good here. Masquerada outspeeding everything is just amazing. Yes, Beartic, I guess, in Snow could outspeed him, but I think Onesie definitely brings some type of Scarfer or something like Speed Boost Moth. Also, can outspeed Beartic if that's what Mario wants to be as fast as Mon. And just Moth in general looks really good here if he does not decide to bring something like Flash Fire Heatran, because like Flame Body would punish Masquerada pretty well if that's what he wants to do. Then that opens up Ire Moth, but then if he has Flash Fire, then that means Masquerada is still just really good in this matchup. Thunderous as well, something like Double Dance maybe, once Sandy Shocks drops, could be a giant problem. I will say though, the hazards are going to be a little bit annoying, so I wonder how Onesie's going to deal with that. But I think that with this top three and the proper Mons supporting them, I think Onesie would just barely win this one. It's more or less balance against balance here, so
yeah,
it's depending on who wants to be like the more aggressive one, I think.
Yeah,
I'll give it to Onesie.
I gotta go with Leo, man. Mario's my boy. I love Mario, but I think that Onesie has it. You guys are talking about hazards and shit like that. Now, you do got to fuck around with that Flame Body Heatran, but it is 50-50. Do you want to be Flash Fire or do you want to be Flame Body? I understand both sides. So let's just say he is Flash Fire. I picture Boot Spam from Onesie because Meow is something routinely you could see boots on. Axel, Flower Trick, Knock, U-Turn, outspeeds the whole team, okay? If you want to bring something in like a Heatran and you don't get punished on the one U-Turn, well, then you bring in Flame Orb Conk that I tried. That's the one I wanted. I think that Mach Punch late game, Sandy Shock's gone. Heatran gone. Zarude gone. You can Drain Punch back on the Heatran. I mean, you could bring in the Slow King, but that doesn't want to take a knockoff or a facade. Pheasantipity, depending, I feel like you could play around it to bring in something like the Tinkaton that just kind of walls Pheasantipity, and then you come in on a knockoff or a Gigaton Hammer or something like that. I just think that Mario's team, looking at it, outside of Zarude and Sandy Shocks, really have a hard time breaking through Aloe, truth be told.
Oh my god, it's so fat.
So fucking fat. And if you want to be...
So obese.
Dude, it's insane. He could be AV, understandable. Or he could be some bullshit ass Wish flip turn. He could eat any one hit from anything on the opponent's field and just flip turn on out. Pass a fat ass Wish and get health back itself. I fucking hate Aloe.
Yeah.
And I just see Mario's team struggling with that because you're going to be Specs Latios and just pray he's not AV. Or are you going to be bringing in Zarude every time? But if he flip turns out, in comes Conk, and Pheasantipity is going to be worn down real quick. Quaquaval doesn't want to take stuff really easily. Talked about Slow King being a possible switch in, but then you have to switch into a knockoff or an EQ or a facade. And I just see Onesie being able to squeeze this one out personally.
Yeah, I mean, I can respect what you guys say about this. I also think once Quaquaval gets set up at all, it kind of breaks through Onesie's team. I mean, it kind of very easily. It sets up a Swords Dance, Aqua Step boost, and you're just faster and blowing up everything except for maybe Aloe that can live any one hit. Maybe a Mesprit will be able to live a hit if you can even fit that in the matchup. I think
I could definitely snowball.
Quaquaval
is a scary mon that can
especially under the hazards that are super free.
Yes,
that is true. I will also give it to Mario. Latios and Cyclozar do make a nice like dragon spam core. So if he can overwhelm Tinkaton, I think that he could definitely pull it out. Like Life Orb Cyclozar is honestly a really good offensive threat here if you look at it with its coverage. And then Latios, I mean, can run Earthquake, so it still can hit the Tinkaton. So
I could even a DD Latios talking. I didn't mean to cut you off, but like I do think DD Latios could be something for it too.
Yeah, I like the vision.
He does have potential.
I still love you, Mario.
But it's also Mario, so
yeah. All right. Let's see. Next game, Atlanta Victinis versus Philadelphia T-Tars. Leo, start us off.
So I was a little floppy at this matchup initially, but the more I looked at it, I really think that Jay pulls out the victory here. If you look at Grumm's team, his removal is a Fortress, which I've only ever seen like one person ever do anything with the Fortress. And even though Jay does not have a ghost type to stop it from spinning, he still has 2 fire types. He has ways of being able to punish Fortress. And then also Baxcalibur, whether it be Dragon Dance or Swords Dance, I definitely think can come in and end up winning late game. It also punishes Grum from running Chilly Reception. Because Baxcalibur will get the defense boost. Although Grum does have some scary offensive mons like TGrumm, notoriously hard for switching into, but Jayvee has one of the absolute best switch-ins in Bronzong. He's got Lycanroc, which again, Bronzong also switches into that, even Ursaluna. So Bronzong does have a lot of pressure on it in this matchup, but I think if Jay brings like screens, mainly Reflect, honestly, like he will be able to pull out the victory. Not to mention that Necrozma and Terapagos behind screens are going to be able to easily set up and win. Although Grum could go something like a Trick Room route potentially, I think that has a good offensive potential here for him. But I think I'm going to have to give it to Jay just because Baxcalibur looks really good. Screens look really good. Fortress is not a removal or a Pokemon, so yeah, I'm going to have to go to Jay here.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. Bronzong is what stuck out to me in this matchup. I think a Trick Room, maybe even Colberberry Bronzong, or you could say Trick Room like Power Herb Meteor Beam. Because what wants to take a +1 Meteor Beam outside of fucking Fortress? It's so free against his team. Maybe AV Ursaluna, right? But Bronzong having coverage, I think that it's going to be able to pressure so much of the opponent's side. And even if it doesn't pressure it, you're going to get up rocks, right? Gliscor having knock, Ogerpon having knock, not even having to worry about like a flame body burn from Moltres if it wants to switch into that, or Necrozma having knock. I just feel like Bronzong's going to be such a hard time for our opponent to break through. But on the same token, like Samurai, Hisuian, Dark type is kind of spammable against JV's team, truth be told. And like if you could play your sucker punches right, now granted you got to hit them all, that could be a difference. But I just think something like Boots, Rapid Spin, Terapagos, he has no ghost type, so you're going to get that +1 speed boost no matter what, right? You run Power Gym, which is unchecked on Grum's team outside of Fortress. Power Gym in itself could win him the game because you're going to have Power Gym, you have Flamethrower just for the Fortress, and then you have something for like Slowking Galar. I don't know whether that be Earth Power or some kind of other T-Bolt coverage move, just something. I think that
General Stab.
Yeah.
Harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, all it needs is Terra Storm, spin, coverage move, and then whatever last move.
Yeah, I think the screens with Terapagos, D-Dance, Necrozma with some kind of like Photon Geyser coverage bullshit. I think Jay's got it for this one.
Yeah, and I like Terapagos, but kind of for a different way. I think Choice Specs Terapagos just gets a kill every single time it comes out.
Oh,
it's nasty, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't even
anything
think
like
about
that. But Terra Starstorm, you just click it, or you click Power Gem, depending on what you need to click. You absolutely just pick up a knockout every
turn
comes out.
That's true. And even if he's like AV on Slowking, like that means he's not going for annoying moves like Thunder Wave.
You don't even have to worry about like
Just
Specs Blizzard, yeah.
And then you also have like Life Score that just sets up spikes, sets up Stealth Rock. So on top of that, you just literally cannot switch into anything on Jayvee's team. I think Jayvee easily should be able to win this game. Honestly, I feel like it's kind of really hard for Grumm here. I mean, you don't have a lot to work with. I think Samurott is really strong, like you guys pointed out. Ursaluna gets kind of walled by Bronzong. You do a Fire Punch, but it can't do as much as you would like it to do here. I think it is nice to have a fast Pokemon with Kilowattrel, but it's not gonna. You're not gonna hit all your Hurricanes versus this team. You can't just spam Thunderbolt or anything like that. Right. So I think for all those reasons, I just have to give it to Jayvee here.
Yeah, and I agree. Like Colbert Bronzong. Go ahead, Leo.
So good. No, that's all. I was just saying Jay's offense is just so good here for sure.
Hell yeah, yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you guys. And I guess the last game is going to be South Bend Snowflakes and San Diego Spirits. Pup, this is you. This is you, big dog. This is you versus D-Ray. Yeah, and Leo chose to apparently fuck me and pick Gray, so I'm going to be the only one covering this. Leo, you're welcome to give your thoughts, but for the cash prize, obviously it's not going to count. You're welcome just to like kind of give your insight. So truth be told, I have Pup winning. The way I look at it, yeah, right. Fuck you guys. I pick you, Pup. You gotta return the favor, dude.
I am.
Hey, you do not have a good match.
Yeah. Hey, it's all right. I take it on the chin. To me, Keldeo stands out. Azelf doesn't want to switch into Keldeo. It's not known for being super bulky. You got a Florges, it's going to be worn down. Yeah, Bramblegas is going to be worn down. Just fucking Vacuum Wave in itself looks pretty nice because Bundle is known for physical defense over Spadef. Aura Sphere, Iron Hands could be AV. But I think Keldeo is a great late game win con. Even having Icy Wind for something like the Bramblegas is going to be able to wear it down.
Their Wind Rider.
That's true. Hey, good spot.
I will say Iron Bundle. Yeah, I did pick Pup, by the way.
Hell yeah.
I would say Iron Bundle is a little bit annoying in this matchup, but then again, there's like Raging Bolt, so it stops it. Keldeo eats hits. Also, if Pup wants to bring Veil, that's definitely a route he could go. But offensively, I think Pup definitely has the advantage here. Like, his offense just, I think, out-pressures D-Ray's offense, honestly. And as I said, Florges is not really that great. Like, it does nothing.
Agreed.
To, like, Goldango in this matchup, for example. Or even the Talonflame. And Talonflame is actually it's not that bad here, I think.
Yeah.
I think just offensive-wise, Pup definitely pulls it out here.
Yeah, I think that like having something talking about the Florges, you can flip turn out on that. Goldango comes in every time. And what wants to take a Shadow Ball, right? Like Hydreigon, maybe, but then you pivot into something else. The only thing, like Veil, you have to be somewhat curious because you're going to give Bundle free Blizzard spam, and Bundle can bop on that Spadef side. But I think that if you get the Veil up, Hatterene, even Goldango to a degree behind Veil could take a couple hits, even the Hydro Pump from something like Bundle. So I just think that your offense kind of overwhelms D-Ray's lack of defense, if that makes sense, in this matchup. Like, he does have the AV hands.
Like a man.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Assert your dominance.
Yeah. But I think like Vikavolt has a role to play against something like the Iron Hands, because Iron Hands, you're gonna run Wild Bolt, maybe Ice Punch to try to catch your Lando. You have to run maybe Heavy Slam or Drain Punch or something like that, and some other coverage move. It just
the Raging Bolt.
You play it right, and I feel like you're good to go.
Yeah, unless Bundle like freezes everything. I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, Bundle's really like the scariest thing, I think, honestly. I guess SD Scizor, but I don't know. I've never been a fan of Scizor, honestly, so I don't really think it ever does anything.
Scizor's my favorite Pokemon ever, by the way. I can't. Okay.
Dragon with its dual stab is not that bad, honestly, going into this matchup. And like with Flash Cannon, I could see like Scarf Hydreigon maybe doing some things, but then it just locks itself into a move and then something else comes in.
And then Keldeo comes in with Vacuum Wave.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Nothing against D-Ray, but this is just a really rough matchup for him, honestly.
Yeah. Now, like, to be fair, one thing that really stood out to me, I think if he could get up a Rock Polish with Glamora and have the Power Herb Meteor Beam, you've got Meteor Beam, you've got Earth Power, and then maybe Sludge Wave or something like that. Or, like, I get Landorus would be able to handle it, but depending on when he brings it in, I do think that Rock Polish Glamora could be a threat for sure.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, late game potentially. Yeah.
Yeah. And then nothing necessarily on Pup side also wants to take a T-Spike. We've got no grounded poison. Now Goldango's not going to worry about it.
Take advantage of the toxic debris.
Yeah, and so I'm going to expose myself here, but toxic debris isn't bounced back by Magic Bounce, is it?
I don't think so.
I have no clue.
Okay, good. I exposed all you motherfuckers.
I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
We're gonna need to do some testing after this because now I'm curious.
Right.
No, I've never seen that interaction. So
Me either. So, fuck y'all. But I'm going Pup.
I'll let you guys know in week 2.
Yeah.
Right. I am going Pup. But, okay. So, as you guys, like I said, we're going to have, this is, I guess, going to the audience. We are all going to have our picks. They should be showing for you. And you'll see the counters go up within each week. This should go up before each week matchup. We're recording both week 1 and week 2 to make sure we get it in before any games come in and we kind of see how shit plays out. And then we got a cash prize. So make sure to check out myself, Leo, Pup, and we will catch you guys for week 2. That'll be it for me. Peace.
Later.
Pup, you gonna say like a goodbye, I love you or something?
Nah.
Love you is a strong word. Strong face.
Yeah.
I like you a lot.
I really like you.